let's get painting. Good morning, and if you're rolling in, thank you for being here. Today we are going to try and finish these 4 Monty Python inspired Zombicide characters. We'll also answer any questions anyone has about getting started in painting. As always, I am available and I am happy to talk with confidence, but I am not the senior most expert in any of this. I'm just a guy who's really enthusiastic about sharing the hobby with new painters. Um, with that in mind, let's get to it, right? So, rather than do a little bit on all of them at a time like I've been doing in a batch painting style, we're just gonna take a character to completion. And so first we're gonna start here with Bob. And so on the Bob figure, he needs some cleanup on his robes where they've worn away a little bit of highlights, and the skin needs some help. The skin is too dark on the back where the zenithal wasn't as strong as needed, unfortunately. Yeah, let's get to it. So, I'm going to just try and glaze in a little bit of, maybe not tan flesh, maybe some beige red on the back of the arm here. I would love to be able to honor that original lighting from the zenithal, but we'll see what comes through. Hey folks, welcome in. Thanks for being here on a Wednesday morning. We're just getting set up for some painting today. This bottle seems quite hard. Oh, wow, that's a lot of people. Hey, welcome in everybody. We're just getting set up on our palette for our miniature painting today. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have any painting projects of your own, I'd love to hear about them. And now I'm just thinning out the paint a bit. Sorry, I'm blocking this person's message. That's annoying. Remove that message. Awesome. Well, for those of you who are still here, thanks for being here. And so now I'm just trying to increase the brightness on the back of the hand there. I used a transparent paint, and I didn't have a bright enough undercoat to build up the saturation that I wanted. Sort of gently laying this in there. This is perhaps still a little too opaque. We'll see if we can't thin it down just a bit more. Looks a little bit better. And of course we'll bring some of that same color over the front of the figure. Try and keep things consistent. It is unfortunately slightly more powerful than I want, but I can't really make it any thinner. It's just a failure of the preparation steps that I've taken on previous days of painting, unfortunately. We'll do our best. just keep working our way around the other areas of the skin. Make sure it all has that same brightness. Thanks. Yeah, it's definitely a practice in patience. You can definitely make some mistakes that'll set you back pretty far, but nothing is unfixable in a hobby like this because you can just, you know, carefully paint your way out of any hole you get put down, um, at the cost of your time and your sanity. But now I'm just highlighting the tips of the face. So on this guy, it's that there's a little bit of a brow ridge, and then the nose, and hitting that's going to give the character a bit of a sense that they're in the natural light, and also some shape, so that from far away you can tell where the nose is versus the cheeks, even though the depth of the character isn't very great. By kind of faking that highlight, we can get a slightly more dimensional look to it. Yeah, welcome in. Good morning. This is Bob. He's a Zombicide miniature based on Monty Python characters. I have 4 of them that I'm working on for somebody. I like working on all kinds of weird little projects like this. And we're just mixing up a new highlight color from our beige red and this new skin tone that I'm adding to the palette now. And then same thing, just that tip of the nose, top of the forehead. And then also the tops of the hands, so basically like the areas of each finger that faces up toward the light. I'll just do a little bit in and highlight. Everything's looking good. Same thing, we'll do a little bit of a highlight on the bottom of the palm as well. So yeah, that's Bob so far. Next up, the staff needs some color. In the reference art, his robe is a little bit more orange and the staff is a little bit more of a yellow wood. I don't know that I can really flip that and have it still look successful, but we are gonna try. Let's get out the other palettes. So this bin is Iffy Speed Paint. It's all semi-transparent paints. Here we go. A palette bone and a little desolate brown. So rather than go even brighter yellow, I'm going to go slightly more muted yellow-green on the staff. And they give some nice contrast to the warm colors already on the rest of the character. Just quickly mix that up. Add a bit of water. Cool. And same thing. Just touch that on the staff and work our way around all the different sides. Because I thinned this down, it may need a second application, but that's not a big deal. Main thing is we just want to avoid any pooling. So I'm not sure if you can see the shine, but right in his sleeve it has caught a ton of moisture from this paint. So we're going to soak all that up. Oh. So that's that. I'm going to clean up his beard and horns a bit now as well with this bright ivory. Oh, goodness. It's a little bit more natural than using pure white, but it's really up there in its brightness. Hey there, welcome in, folks. I think I'm just trying to clean up the line where the beard and the mustache. Give it a little bit of volume by pumping up the brightness, so it looks like it's, you know, it's a bushy enough beard to catch the light of the area. But if you're here and you're watching along, please, you know, let me know if you have any questions or if you have a painting project of your own that you're working on. I'd like to hear about it. Now I'm just adding a bit of a highlight to the wrapping on the wizard staff here. Create a little bit more detail by plussing up the contrast. You can also add some texture. Right now I'm using some really thin, scratchy lines to differentiate the fabric from the wood area. the wood already has sculpted in wood grain in like a vertical. So if I'm going horizontal with the fabric grain, kind of add some extra contrast there. Alright, we're going to switch the camera around. Give me a second here. Loosen this. Gonna be another minute there, folks. I over tightened the ball joint on this mouth. There we go. I can actually see what's going on, huh? And then it'll be harder for me to manage the chat, but I'll do what I can. So here we've got Bob in all of his glory thus far. What he needs is just a little bit of like chunky edge highlighting on the robe. There's already some good definition because of the underpainting I did, but it needs some pop. So we gotta see if he is already dark umber dark. We need to go find light umber. That's why. And so light umber here, just on the raised edges, should give us some extra definition. I only put out a super tiny drop at a time. One, because I'm not working with it super quickly, and so I don't want to waste a bunch of paint. And two, you really don't need all that much to get decent coverage. Yep, and that's looking nice and natural, which is exactly what we want. Just a hint of brightness. One of the traps that I fall into is not recognizing the way that light reacts with different materials. I always can kind of go too high on my highlight, and then it makes the reflection look more metallic or glossy, which is kind of too much, right? The highest values on a piece of fabric, the difference in contrast is not nearly as high unless it has like, metallic thread or something like that. It's really a sort of mid-tone game. But don't let that stop you from adding contrast just to make the figure more exciting. That is sort of an art of its own. Well, nobody's here, which is sort of expected after I banned Skibbity Toilet Guy. So See how we're just kind of giving it some shape with the highlights. Just a little bit of character. Trying to not overdo it. Nice. Now I'm just going around and tidying up the fabric portion of the lower garment. Sorry, I keep drifting out of the shot. Your camera's placed at a weird angle. Well, I'm giving up for today. Thanks for anyone who's here. Have a good one.